Hello and welcome to the Festival of Media Global 2016. It's drawing towards the end of the first day. We've had a bustling session of content, and I'm delighted to say that one of today's speakers is joining me to talk all things sport and Olympic summer coming up. It's Jonathan Edwards, none other than the world record holder for the triple jump still, and Eurosport's lead presenter for the sporting content and the Olympics content coming up. So how are you finding the event so far?
I've enjoyed it. Fantastic location here in Rome. Just sat out on the deck looking at the swimming pool, a bit of lunch, and not got to any of the sessions yet because I only got in late last night. But there's certainly a great buzz around here. Yeah,
and you're here to talk to us about sport and the power of sport, and at a time when technology is changing, we're hearing that an awful lot, but sport is still a live audience event and it still holds a power.
I think that's right. I think in a world where particularly younger people aren't sitting down in front of televisions and they're grabbing 5 minutes here or 5 minutes there, everything's on catch up. Sport is the one thing that does tend to bring people together. Well, I've got two lads, 23 and 21, and they won't sit down and watch a lot of television. A lot of stuff will be on laptops. But you can guarantee when the football's on, or the cricket test match, or when the Olympics will come on later on this summer, they will sit down around the television and you want to be there. It's not quite the same catch up. You can watch something on Netflix, catch up or whatever it might be, but it's not quite the same with sport as watching it live as it happens. So it is, I think, in this incredibly fast changing world in terms of media consumption, something which is it almost sort of stays the same to a point. I mean, there's lots of different applications around it, exciting ways of discovering sport, but the actual viewing of a live event is sort of pretty similar to what it's always been.
Mm-hmm. And I remember watching live your world record, 1995 was it?
That's right. Yeah.
I remember it well. And we've got an exciting summer coming. We've got the Olympic Games, which for all of the sort of talk around what's happening in Brazil and politically, it's going to be a great event, I'm sure, and it's something that you think presumably audience are really going to respond to.
Yeah, there are challenges. You alluded to them. I think most Olympic Games going into them, there are some issues. It's that lead up. It's almost like open season on any stories. Apart from the sport's going to be amazing, but once the games start, the sport will be fantastic. I mean, obviously London was a great game. I was very involved with that. But each host city brings its own kind of character to a game. So you've got that sort of carnival atmosphere of Rio, the Copacabana, the mountains, Christ the Redeemer. And the whole thing will be a spectacular sight, I think, on television. And then you've got some of the greatest sports people on earth, not least Phelps in the first week with the swimming, and then Usain Bolt in the second week.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned a couple of them there. I mean, what stories do you think we might be talking about when this all sort of winds down? What do you think might be the big tales?
Well, Phelps obviously is 18 gold medals so far, which is just, you can't get your head around how one person can win so many gold medals. And he seems to be very motivated for Rio, for all that I've heard in terms of his preparation. He's just become a father. I think that's really settled him down a bit. I think he could do something special, maybe 21, 22 gold medals, a record that will never be broken. And then Usain Bolt going for what he's calling the three-peat. 3 in Beijing, 3 in London, the 100, the 200 and the relay, and now looking for 3 in Rio. So I think that will be...
Can he do it?
Yeah, I think he can. Yeah. I think, last year he nearly got beaten by Gatlin. I think it was a bit of a wake-up. Justin Gatlin from the USA, it was a bit of a wake-up call. So I think he's super focused, and I think if he's in shape, then nobody can run as fast as him.
Yeah. So some of our audience of people working in marketing, in agencies, are going to be trying to work out how they can seamlessly, in a way that has integrity, involve themselves in the games and sponsors. Do you think there is a role for brands to play, and there is a sort of role that they can play in all of this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think back to London 2012, and part of the way the games came alive for people around the country was the activations of some of the big brands and using some of the big athletes and maybe even some of the less well-known athletes, innovative ways of bringing their brand, associating it with the 5 rings. So I think it's part of the whole kind of Olympic feel, the way that brands activate, and I think the Olympic Games is still the biggest brand, and perhaps the most recognised brand in the world, and it stands for something. Despite all the controversies that you get, I think the Olympic Games still does stand for something very pure, very human, that sort of striving to be as good as you can be. Yes, striving to break a record, to win a medal, but the sort of faster, higher, stronger. And I think it calls us all on to our highest aspirations to make the most of who we are, and I think those are great values for brands to be associated with.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to watching Eurosport, look forward to following it all this summer, and thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.